Welcome, Warriors, back with another episode of Bigger Warriors 2. I'm sitting here waiting at a stop, and I want to make sure I kind of get one more video in, probably for today. Thank you once again for all the subscribers, comments. I like to do videos when I see ideas and things come through, and so I have a whole list of ideas that I've gotten from a lot of you viewers, and thank you so much for that. Once again, subscribe, comment, like, those type of things. And if there's comments and topics that I want to kind of bring up, we'll do that. We got a boatload of them, so I'll probably end up doing a bunch more over the next few weeks. Please go ahead and kind of help give me some ideas of what you may want me to kind of discuss and bring into the discussion to kind of help you be successful. Once again, this channel, Vigor Warriors Channel 2, is focusing on success of the young, older man, and for women as well, trying to get ahead and do things that you want to achieve and be a strong person, self-discipline, self-control, those type of things, and you're choosing what you want to do with your life instead of having others choose for you. And I think it's a key type of thing. So here's a topic that is interesting, and I'm going to call this Flee from Temptation and Relapse. So the key is, guys, talking about this is, once again, and the reason this came up is I had someone had asked me in the conversation I had with them the other day, well, what happens if you just can't avoid it, if you're not strong enough? And that's a legitimate question. So just like the warriors on a battlefield, if you're not as strong and you're a younger warrior, maybe not as much training, maybe as not as much battle training as other people, you are going to, you're going to have a more difficult time vanquishing the villain, the enemy, and it's not going to be as easy. So what do you do? Well, you have to certainly decide what you want to do. The old story of David and Goliath. David wasn't afraid of Goliath, even though he was 100 times smaller, and he was able to find the weak spot in the enemy. So as a person who may not have as much strength, what you want to do is find the weak spot in the enemy, just like David did with Goliath. Now, that's not always easy, and you're going to get, attacks and spots. I'm going to start driving here a little bit, guys. But spots and attacks you're going to get from the enemy. As you sit here, the train in the background, sorry about that. And I love my trains. But the thing is that you want to do is you want to make sure that you are following the goals and plans that you have. And I think the key in all of that is to try to focus on your purpose. Now, if you need to run and get away from doing those type of things, you can. Get rid of those images on TV. Get rid of those internet, files and things that you have, that you're looking at. Get those out of your system. Flee from temptation if you have to, right? Move away from temptation, because you don't want to put yourself in a position where you could go ahead and relapse, or put yourself in a position where you're, getting energy kind of taken away from you. So if you're in a situation, sometimes it is better to move back and flee for a short period of time until you get your bearings back to battle again. There's nothing wrong with taking a step back once in a while, and taking a shot from the enemy, and that's going to happen sometimes. And so fleeing from that is not such a some people think it's kind of weak and everything, but sometimes a strategy is a good strategy, because you're not as powerful as that attack coming. So sometimes putting you in a position where you're trying to meet things head on, you're not going to succeed. And so if you're just beginning your journey and you're not looking at being that strong, and I think one of my viewers had said that, what you're trying to do is build up strength, more and more strength as time goes on, and that's going to end up helping you when it comes to fighting off the enemy and fighting all obstacles as you go along the way. And so the thing that you really want to do is you want to try to build that strength up as time goes on. It's almost like putting money in the bank and being able to look at that. We got a crazy driver next to me here. But you want to look at that and say, I'm going to build myself up as strong as I can. We do this physically too, right? You build strength. The fact that you're building, weightlifting and getting stronger each time, putting more weight on the bar, doing a bigger bench press or doing more curls with a higher weight, those type of things. Those things are all things that are part of what you're doing to get stronger. And you're building that strength, right? You're building that strength little by little as you go on. And so as you build a habit, you're going to be stronger. However, there's times in your journey, especially if you're in day 1, day 2, day 3, that it's better just to kind of flee. And the Bible talks about fleeing from temptation. Well, you need to do that, right? Now, you may still run into problems. I mean, the story of Joseph is famous with Pharaoh's wife. He got in trouble, thrown in jail because, she was not too happy that he was running away from her. But those type of things are going to happen. You're going to get people upset with you if you become strong. And just because you look weak doesn't mean you're not strong. I've always found that sometimes weakness is a strength, a hidden strength. In this case, to go back and take a few steps back, to battle again is not a bad idea. And in this case, if you're not strong enough and you haven't built enough of that energy back up, and one of my viewers had asked me, if he's relapsed, for several years, how long will it take you to get the energy back? Well, from my readings, it takes about 30 days to build up more energy as time goes on, every time you end up doing it. So every time you lose energy, you've got to rebuild it up. So obviously a number of years, and losing that, you've got to build those things up. And so there's times obviously in between losing energy that you're building, but obviously the best thing to do is really be in control of that. When do you really want to do that? When don't you? And if you're strong mentally, you're able to take on those challenges and say, okay, I'm not really that interested in doing this right now. I have other goals, other plans to do it. And the more busy you get in something else, guys, the more you're going to forget about that stuff. And that's where you build that strength. And so if something hits you and someone, some image comes across, some person comes across, and all of a sudden now you feel tempted again, now you can actually go ahead and be stronger and deal with it and not be fazed by it. But there's going to be cases, especially when you're young, just starting off like I was at one point, that you have to just kind of put your head down and say, get away, right? Run away for a few minutes. There's nothing wrong with that. Run away until you get away from it. So you're going to have to kind of get rid of things around you because you just can't battle that. That's why you're relapsing. That's why you're going back and forth. And I know, because that's, I did that for years. You don't want to go ahead and relapse because, it's just going to kind of knock you down a little bit on that confidence level and ability to try to move ahead and do it again. So the key, guys, in doing all this is to be able to understand that you need to become as strong as you can. Now, at this point in my journey, it's a lot easier. Now, one, because I'm older, right? I mean, I've had the experiences, and so it's not as interesting, not as important as it was at one point. And some younger guys are still in that phase where this is very important, obviously. And I've had my children, so I'm not really in a situation where I need to procreate as well. So it's a kind of case where, at this point, I'm focusing on my own self-development. Now, that's why I kind of focus a lot on the people 50 years and older, because you guys understand kind of where I'm talking about and where I'm at on some of this stuff too. I think certainly if you're 20 years old, you have a huge battle in front of you, because you've got to try to control that tremendous power you have, that we all have. And if you don't conserve that, if you don't keep that energy, you're gonna be very weak, and you're not going to be able to accomplish some of the things you really want to accomplish. And I think that's why part of the idea is that we're all on a different journey, and if you're going to go, you're within the first few days of your journey, you're going to once again get to the point where you are weak until you become strong. And that's why it's important sometimes to go ahead and flee from these temptations, and to be able to say, okay, I'm going to take a break and get away from this for a while. I'm not going to battle this, and I'm just going to go ahead and continue to move on. And really what you're doing a lot of times, even when you get your mind into something else, you're just ignoring it. You're getting away from it. But that means you're also getting stronger. If you're getting stronger when it's facing you and hitting you straight in the face, and when you're looking at it, then you're not going to be as bothered by that and then say, okay, I'm going to move on. And you're going to make the choice to kind of move on and do something else. And that to me is the key to the whole situation. Be able not to be scared of it, not to be, always worried about it, but also to be able to say, I can control this, and that I'm not going to go ahead and just succumb to that sort of pressure or stress or those type of things to fall back into temptation again and relapsing again. So, warriors, I think this is a battle that you have to make a choice with at times. And if you're young, if you're new in the battle and you basically don't feel as strong, then sometimes it's better to get rid of that stuff. Don't face it. If you could look it straight in the eye at some point, then you're getting stronger. But I would say, if you're not that strong, there's nothing wrong with taking a step back, hiding behind your shield, hiding behind your foundation of things, and saying, okay, we'll fight a battle another day. Doesn't mean you're necessarily weak. It just means you're thinking about this and you're waiting for a period where you're stronger. Okay? All right. Once again, subscribe, like, comment if you have any questions, and any more interesting topics. I'm going to focus on the next one next time. And until then, have a great day, warriors, and battle on.